Hey! Oh my God. Wow. Here we are. We're back. We're back. It's been a minute. We took most of July off, and but we're gonna catch up. Okay. Anyway, I am Musa Jackson, and welcome to Ambassador Digital Magazine Live. I'm so excited for tonight because it's we're gonna be highlighting and honoring a good friend of mine. She deserves her flowers, and so we'll talk about that later. Gosh, I've had one of those summers I can't even imagine. I'll be honest with you, I gotta say I've had an amazing summer. Um, I want to thank the people over at Summer of Soul for including me in this amazing documentary by the amazing Questlove. Thank you so much for giving me the honor. Harlem born kid, little kid that was at a concert back in 1969 that would change my life. And I just can't say how thankful I am to you guys for allowing me to open and close your film. I can say walking down the streets of Harlem, is a little different. I'm known as a Harlem ambassador. And now I'm also, oh my God, you were in that film. Oh my God, that film was amazing. Oh, my mother was at the concert back in '69 too. My mother met my father. Such a beautiful history. Thank you for preserving it, for correcting it, for our children, my children, and other children to come that will see this and know that, something spectacular happened and was not forgotten. Sorry, I'm a little emotional because it's if you see the film, you'll understand why it's so important to me. But I just want to thank the producers and thank you so much, Kevin. Thank the producers and all who had anything to do with this. Go see it. It's still on Hulu. I'm not sure I think it's still in the theaters, but it's Summer of Soul or When the Revolution Could Not Be Televised. Questlove's directorial debut. And we'll be pushing for that Oscar nomination. Okay. So anyway, we got next. The Olympics. Whew. Wow. Lots going on in the Olympics. In Tokyo with the spike in the COVID, COVID spike and the Delta variant over there, and so, we're always sending all of our love to the athletes that go, that represent us and countries come together under these conditions. My God, it's a lot. That's a lot on your mental health. And with that said, I bow down, I take my hat off to the greatest gymnast the world has ever seen. And trust me, we've seen them. I'm old enough. I'm 56, so I know about them all, okay? But it would be Simone Biles. She's done things on that floor, that bar, that everything that no other gymnast has ever achieved. They might not ever achieve it. And so we have to. And she took time out of the Olympics to take care of her mental health, something that I guess as a Black woman, she wasn't supposed to. She's just supposed to be there to entertain, right? But no, not in this day and age. I'm so honored and proud of these young athletes, specifically young Black people, young Black women specifically, her and Naomi, who choose to call it how they want to call it. Let that sink in, okay? We're in a new day and age, and I'm proud of her. So hats off to you, Simone Biles. And then coming back and getting a bronze. You understand that? She got a bronze. I know you wanted her to get the gold, but she got a bronze medal. That's spectacular in my book. As she said, it is probably her most important medal because of what she went through, and she came back and was able to achieve greatness and still win a bronze. So hats off again. Wonderful things are happening. And say this, Broadway is coming back. As a matter of fact, Passover had a amazing preview and a block party yesterday. So I'm excited about that Broadway's coming back. A lot of my friends are in the theater. And so I'm happy that they're able to come back and work. There will be restrictions, of course, with I think with getting in the buildings. I think they have to be vaccinated, wear masks, the whole thing, so we can we definitely keep it safe. But the point is that people who love what they do so much. Imagine New York City. Imagine it without the theater. I can't. It's like the theater, Central Park. There's just certain things, Empire State Building, there's Harlem, that without these things, it just isn't New York City. So I'm glad it's coming back. Congratulations to my friends that are now getting ready to be employed again. One was our cover star, one of our early cover stars, Daniel J. Watts, is going back, returning in the role of Ike Turner in the Tina Turner musical. So congratulations, Daniel. And also, speaking of Tony Awards, my really good friend who I love dearly, and everybody loves her. Everybody loves her. If you know her, you love her. Is the hi Greta, is the legendary publicist. She's one of the first publicists, specifically of the theater, is getting an honorary Tony. She's already got a picture up in Sardi's, which is unheard of because she's not a Broadway actress. So that just shows how fierce this woman is. Irene Gandy, I love you. Congratulations. You deserve all the flowers. And I'm getting you on one of our covers because I want to make sure, there she is with the incomparable Stephanie Mills. But that's her, that's my buddy. That's a good lady right there. Anybody in the theater knows what I'm talking about. That's a good lady. Good mom too. Hi to Myra. I got to say hi to people because, COVID keeps us apart. So when I see even a picture, I'm excited. So anyway, mwah, Irene. And what else I got for you? Okay. With all good stuff going on, there's always something, right? To baby. Now, that's the most I've ever said the name. Ever. I'm a little older, so certain music I haven't caught up to. Maybe I got to do a little more research. I don't try to keep the young folks out because, I believe in progress and hearing what's out there, even though I'm a 70s kid and you know what I love, my era. But, I always give young people a chance and see what's going on. And obviously, DaBaby is extremely popular, a popular rapper. But obviously, we know certain things he said at a concert of his, talking about people with HIV and AIDS, as well as making homophobic remarks, and then even just slandering women. Dude, who raised you? I'm a father. And I'll be honest with God, you could not be my son talking that mess. All right, so now this is a Black man to just my personal, because if you're a real man, you would never talk like that. Talk about people like that. Be bigger than that. You have this amazing opportunity in front of you. Amazing. Here you are spoiling it. For nothing. Why? Why? What good did it do? See, this is the you got to now live with the consequences, being pulled out of all these concerts. So it opens up the conversation and the dialogue about some toxic masculinity, homophobia, misogyny. It opens up these conversations. And of course, now the apologies come, because are they real? I don't know. When it hits the pocketbook, apologies start happening. Facts. You know, there's a lot of people. It's not just the baby. It's his record label. It's his family. It's the crew around him. It's his record producers. There's a lot of people that make this one entertainer. So when you go out there and act foolish, there's a lot of paychecks that are on the line. Grown uncle, I'm 56 years old, been around the block, several blocks. Entertainment, honey. Okay? You can take it from Madonna, you can take it from whoever, but I'm just one black man. And listen, you out there to perform, not out there to chastise people and people that and be smart, at least be educated about what you're saying. Okay? Anyway, I'll pray for you. How about that? So listen, we have birthdays. The big birthday happened this week, August 4th. I know who you're thinking, right? It was my sister's birthday, who happens to also share her birthday with a former president, Barack Obama. So I want to say happy birthday, Annie. I love you to death. You're the best big sister a man could have, okay? And to my president, my forever president, Barack Obama, happy 60th birthday. Wow, he looks good. That's goals, 60. Okay, so here we are at the height of our show, the beginning of our show, and I just want to say about this amazing woman. She is so many things, honey. She's Harlem born. She's a producer. She's a writer. She's a director. She's a wife, a mother. She's the CEO of National Black Theater. You know, she's doing the damn thing up here in Harlem, keeping a cultural institution alive and taking it into the future. This is why we are here tonight. We got to bring out this dynamic woman. She is Sade Lythcott.
Hey, Musa.
Hey. Hi.
How are you?
How are you? You look good.
Oh my gosh, I feel hot.
I know.
Yeah. You look good.
Thank you. I try. You look amazing. How's everything with you? Again. First off, how's everything?
Oh, everything is good. You know, it's wild this roller coaster we continue to be on. So I was loving watching your intro because I got all of the pop culture news, and so much of it is about theater and what's happening, and you know, all the guidelines that are going to be rolled
I know.
out.
Aren't you excited about it?
Yes and no.
I mean, no. I'm not going to say that. How do you feel about it? Yeah,
it's a bit of a roller coaster, I have to say. Like, we are happy to be able to be back and in community, National Black Theater. We usually don't have a summer season. We our season is a fall to a spring, but with this last year that we've been through, we know our people and our community and the culture needs MBT. So we're in the streets. And being outdoors feels great, and bringing, you know, the theater to the community feels great. But I have to say, the variant and all of the new kind of protocols that have been rolled out, I realized this week, like I have, and I know all of us are dealing with it to some extent, some PTSD of what we've come through. So now to get masked back up, which is important to, you know, this push for continued vaccination, which is important, but really looking at the landscape of theater shifting and changing as a result, you know, is a little like, scary, and you can feel the weight of what we've been through and that we're not fully out of it yet. So yeah, it's been mixed.
Yeah, it is mixed. It's weird.
Yeah.
I hate to I don't want to be a Debbie Downer.
No.
I know the new phrase is "we outside," right? And I'm always like, did we have to go there?
Yeah.
Like the first thing.
Yeah.
Leave it to us. Leave it to our people.
Love it.
To come up with. I mean, I guess that's optimism, right?
Well, we are outside.
We are outside.
I think, overall, my biggest concern and my concern always is what's happening equitable? Like, are we creating new dynamics and new caste systems by which we are discriminating without a full picture of where we're at? So, public health is the most important. Folks who can get vaccinated should get vaccinated, but we have to really embrace what the history of that is for people of color in this country. The rate of our autoimmune diseases and all of the different complicated factors that don't make this a black and white issue. But when you draw a line in the sand, the way it's coming down, we are making it a black and white issue in terms of haves and have-nots. And so that's where I'm keeping my eye. I got to keep people honest. I got to keep it equitable, and I have to, always keep my our community in front of mine and on my tongue. So that's my concern, and I'm in it to.
I love it. I love it. I love that you keep it on the pulse of what's real happening in the community and how it affects us.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, we have to look out for us.
100%.
But we're gonna go back a little bit. Okay. So you know what? I know I'm privileged to know about your childhood, but I because this is my show and because I know people love these stories, talk a little bit about what it was like growing up in that fabled family.
Oh my goodness. The thing is, and this, and this is what was so profound around a summer of soul. You grow up in history, not knowing the history that's all around you. So I'm born and raised in Harlem. I'm literally in my childhood home is where I live. And, my mother was an artist. And before she founded the National Black Theater, she was an actress. And before she was an actress, she was a dancer. And, so she was a woman who was encircled and engulfed by friends that are names that we know. So her sorors, and she loved being a Delta. So her sorors were, Betty Shabazz, Malcolm X's wife, and Maya Angelou, who was an auntie to me. But her students included those like Hattie Winston and Felicia Rashad. And so I grew up in an environment of incredible creative women. Jimmy Baldwin was a good friend. His nephew, Trevor Baldwin, was my schoolmate.
Love you, Trevor.
Yes, love Trevor. Harlem has always been a Mecca. And that Mecca, I was, blessed enough for that to be my home. Nina Simone was a close girlfriend of my mama. So, yeah, it was a beautiful childhood. I did not realize what I was immersed in. I just knew her friends could play cards, could drink brown spirits, and love the dance floor. And so that was, and also I will say, I would be remiss without saying my mother, raised us in a deeply spiritual, not religious, but a deeply spiritual community as well. And all of those folks had very intricate spiritual cores. So there was a lot of layers and levels to my childhood, but all incredibly beautiful. And
I want to jump in and add, when she said her mom was a dance, there's your mother, your beautiful mom with Hazlip.
Yeah, Ellis Hazlip. Okay, you're about to get
talk about this, guys. It's important because hey, handsome.
Say hi, Thelonious, and then you gotta go.
Hi, how are you? I love your hair. Okay. Anyway.
Yes. That was the Ellis Hazlip. Hold on.
It is so all good.
I have.
This is
I know.
no. This
I'm
is my
behind it. My
program.
whole family's coming in here.
We're real.
This is quarantine, y'all.
Yep.
See, you have to go take a bath. So Ellis Hazlip, the great Ellis Hazlip, was a close friend with my mother, host and producer of a show, which also has an incredible documentary called Mr.
Absolutely.
Soul. He was the creator, producer, and host of Soul, a television show that was on PBS, I think from 1970 to 1972, I want to say, but an incredible documentary for folks to check out as well.
Yeah, no, I love it. That's why I wanted to promote that as well, because it's such a great time to be promoting our culture and dipping back into our history. So the fact that you have Summer of Soul and Mr. Soul is the documentary done by his daughter is just awesome. So I'm glad. I saw this picture.
His niece.
Huh? Melissa his niece. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's done by his niece, Melissa Hazlip. And it will be on HBO Max soon. I don't have the dates, but people can Google schmoogle. It'll be on HBO Max. But the story of Soul is a fantastic,
fabulous
story. My mother was on it, but everybody from Alvin Ailey, gosh, it's all escaping me.
Everybody.
The most famous interview with Baldwin and Nikki Giovanni. Wow. You'll see clips that have never been shown before in the documentary. It's a must.
Fabulous. That's what's I love this. I love that we're doing this, that this is coming out now. And your mom was one of the original dancers with Alvin Ailey.
So my mom was a classically trained dancer, and that is what she thought she would be her whole life. I went to school for it. And what wound up happening, sorry, if you all could see what was happening in the background right now, it is wild. It's my son's bedtime.
It's what it is.
So
you're a mom.
Yeah, so she was a classically trained dancer. Right. She was a dance captain for many Broadway shows. She studied here in the States, she studied in Europe, but one of her close friends was Alvin Ailey. And when Alvin started his dance company, my mother was in the original touring company of Alvin Ailey. She would have stayed a dancer. She was fabulous, but she had a knee injury that stopped her from ever dancing again. And that's how she picked up theater arts.
Isn't that weird or interesting how life is? You know, the universe is like,
Yes. No,
no, you got other things to do.
What's and of course, saying? Mm-hmm. The saying is life's rejection is God's protection. Like when you have a purpose, sometimes the things you pray for God to bless, he's trying to kill, right? Like this idea that you think you know what your path is, but the universe always knows what's for you. So that's what happened with my mom's dance career.
And let's just keep going with these documentaries. There's a documentary on Alvin Ailey right now.
Yeah.
Like I said, I am overwhelmed with just listen, folks, who's ever watching, is that this is the time to support our culture, our mentors, our icons, our trailblazers. And there are great films and documentaries out there that we can be taking our children to. So Alvin Ailey's documentary is also in theaters now. So it's just incredible, an incredible moment in time. Honestly, yeah.
There's Alvin.
There's your Uncle Alvin, huh? So we're gonna switch gears a little bit because I love this part, being a New Yorker and a club kid of the 80s. I was a club kid of the 80s. I know you were the 90s, but
I was the 90s, yes.
You were the hip hop 90s when hip hop dominated. And I was kind of like pop culture 80s. So it was like Prince and Michael and, and stuff like that. But talk about that. Let's talk about some fun stuff.
I have a really good Prince story, actually.
Oh, let's hear it.
And it involved a dance floor.
Ooh.
So I think anyone who has a Prince story is a great Prince story. But yeah, you know, the rhythm of New York is a part of the rhythm of my life. And any native New Yorker knows, like, especially growing up in places where, you know, your apartment might be small or you live with a couple generations of people, like an extension of your living room was your stoop or was the block, right? And so for me, New York City was an extension of the rhythm of my life. But anyway, my Prince story. So I would say this is maybe 20 years ago. Okay. Maybe not that long ago. No, it wasn't that long ago. Maybe 15 years ago. Prince was in New York City, and he was kind of really into my best friend at the time. She was putting out music. He thought her music was great. You know, they had some family background history. So Prince was like hanging out with us all week long, and I'll never forget it. I was on the dance floor and he liked my dance moves. And anybody who's seen me on a dance floor, I know you had legendary Damon on a cover once. Damon and I have known to tear up a dance floor. And he tapped me on the shoulder on this dance floor. And it was weird because we had been hanging out all week long. And he tapped me and he goes, "Hey girl." I go, "Hey, Prince." He's like, "Where you from?" And I said, "I'm from Harlem." And he said, "I'm from the 80s. And he was like, "Woo!" and did this spin. And I was just like, oh my God, that's so much his sense of humor. Like, "Where are you from?" He's like, "I'm from the 80s. And
love it.
Yeah, it was just great. And then he all of the times that I've ever had the privilege to be in his presence, the one thing I remember is how funny he was and how generous he was.
Yeah, I didn't meet. Well, I saw. I didn't get to meet him really. I kind of waved at the opening of Limelight. So I was at the opening of Limelight. Prince was there, and everybody was there. Damn it. Everybody was at the opening of Limelight. That was crazy. I did a fashion show. I was walking the show.
Yes.
And yes, honey, walking that show. And at Limelight, and he was there, and you know, kind of, I waved, he waved. So that was our eye contact. And then he was sitting down, and I sat next to him. But I was very careful to just not, you know, you grow up in New York. I grew up around celebrities my whole life.
Yeah.
And I'm very careful about impeding space. That, you know, that's what other people that don't know the business do. You know, "I want an autograph. Can I get a picture?" That wasn't what we did. This Instagram world just didn't exist back then. I mean, there's no pictures. There's so many things that I know we did that would be made the best Instagram post in the world. Like, in the world. Top everybody, top everything that there's just no record of.
Yeah, because that's the thing about life.
But that's how we were.
Right. Well, that's the thing about life. It's supposed to be lived, not observed.
How about that?
Right? Yeah.
How about that? And one other thing. So I was good friends with oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart. Oh gosh, Jones, who was in his band. She was in the Prince movie. She was in Purple Rain. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh Lord.
She's gonna kill me. She's gonna kill me. Anyway, she was in his band, a bandmate, and she was house sitting. And he had an apartment on 43rd and 3rd in the same building as Fabio.
Oh my God.
I remember riding up the elevator, and there's Fabio, and I'm ready for him to say hello, you know, not butter or whatever. He just looked like the freaking commercial. And so we go to this thing. We play Truth or Dare, and I won the game, and I got to sleep in Prince's bed.
Oh.
When people say to me, "Do you know Prince?" I said, "Yeah, I slept in his bed." Without him, damn it. Okay. Anyway, so
That is
You
funny.
were like one of those kids also that got into places, and I was that kid too, but that got into places at a really young age.
Yeah. You know, it was so funny. May he rest in peace, Biz Markie. When all of the tributes on social media were coming out around Biz Markie, the one that like hit so deep for me was a tweet from Kerry Washington. And the tweet from Kerry Washington was about how when she was a teenager, she used to traverse New York City, and where she learned how to like move and be was at Soul Kitchen. And then she was like, you know, shout out to Biz Markie because I saw him on the 1 and 2s there. And that hit so deep for me because that was like the first like sneak out of my house party to go to. I think I was 14 or 15, going to Soul Kitchen and traveled wherever Soul Kitchen was. Monday nights, I was there. Like, you know.
And you did the door. You did the door to a lot of clubs once.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So I started doing doors of clubs. You shout out to Cordell, our mutual friend.
Oh my God. I love my baby brother, Cordell. Love him.
Yes. Cordell used to be a door guy.
Right.
And there was this little party that he was the door guy for in Soho. It was a sushi restaurant called Match, and Everton Hurd was the promoter. Right. And Cordell was always late for his job. That's, if people know Cordell, yes, we're not surprised. And he was just so fabulous. Cordell has always been so fabulous. So he was too fabulous to be on time. And I remember hanging out with Everton, and Everton was like, well, if he can't be on time, you could do the door. And I was a 16-year-old who was hanging, you know what I mean?
Right.
So that's like how I got my first door job. And then I worked everywhere from Nell's to Spy Bar to, never did the door at the Palladium, but the Tunnel, Club USA, yeah.
Oh, did you guys hear that? These were clubs, and we actually danced, and we actually had a good time. We weren't posy. We really danced.
Yeah, I know
that sounds really crazy, but you know, it seems. I mean, I've been to a club and I felt more posturing going on than actual fun.
Well, here's what happened. A couple of things happened that killed nightlife, in my opinion.
Okay.
Bottle service, because then you had to let in all the douchebags because you wanted to make the coin. But, you know, so bottle service and social media. Those were the things that killed. The last party that I was helped to put together, throw, and what did the door for was actually not as long ago as one might think. Pre-National Black Theater, obviously, but Mark Ronson, when he was a DJ, a producer extraordinaire, and Q-Tip, when he started kind of getting into DJing more than being like the world famous rapper and producer, we came together, the three of us, to kind of bring that that romantic moment of New York City hip hop back. We threw a party for a short period of time downtown. Wow, I don't know, 15 years ago, something like that. Not as long ago as you would think, but it was really fun. But it didn't last because of all of those factors I was saying. But you came to dance.
I mean, another thing about music and clubs, what goes hand in hand with that is fashion. And you've always been a fashion girl. Yeah. You know, as a matter of fact, you were a stylist for some time, working with some amazing people, working on some amazing shoots.
Yeah.
You know, which is kind of crazy. But what was that like for you?
So here's a funny thing, and it's a story I've never said, and I probably need to say it to her in person. But so style, as you can imagine, permeated my world. I mean, I was, from the time I was out of my mother's womb, I was covered with sequins and glitter because all of the costumes of the National Black Theater and the costumes of her friends. One of my mom's friends, Patti LaBelle, when she was with LaBelle and the Bluebells. I mean, you can only imagine the amount of LeMay that I fell in love with. So fashion was always something, I won't say fashion, style was always something that resonated for me as a creative outlet. I've never said this in person, and I've never said it to this person who I adore, But Bevy Smith, when I used to intern and do the door for Vibe magazine, Bevy was like the impresario, empress of Vibe. And she was an executive and she was so engrossed in fashion. And I believe at the time she was like on the publishing side. And so all of her clients were all of the fashion brands that advertised in Vibe magazine. And I just remember seeing Bevy as an intern. Like she was the most fashionable Black woman I had ever met. I had met a lot of stylish women, and she was stylish, of course, but she was so fashionable. And that left such an indelible print on me because as I became a stylist and I've styled for American Vogue, been on shoots like with Annie Leibovitz, like all of this, like where you have to leave your culture behind. Bevy was always that person in the back of my head who always brought us with her. So she always sounded like Harlem. She always, represented, never wanted to be from anywhere but where she was at. And I always appreciated that about her. So yeah, after I graduated from NYU, I started working at MTV, was associate producer and segment producer on TRL. Another one of your cover women, Bevy Smith. Mm-hmm. Who haven't you had? This is such an honor. Honestly.
Listen, I'm honored to be listening to you.
Crazy
You're all honored.
Honor.
No.
And when I left MTV in order to start my own production company, because I thought I wanted to stay in television, the thing that fell back into my lap was the thing that I knew the best, which was fashion. And that's how I started styling. And my last client was Lenny Kravitz, styled him for a world tour, went around the world and realized like I needed to plant roots. And so when I got off a tour, my best friend and I started a swimwear line together called Luna's Little Swimwear. And
can I just stop you for 1 second?
Yes.
One thing, girl, you're not gonna do. You ain't gonna just ride. You ain't gonna just fly by Lenny Kravitz. Oh yeah, that's Lenny Kravitz. And then I did baby. That man right there.
He's beautiful.
Is so gorgeous.
Inside and out, I have to say.
My God, I met him a couple of times, and each time I was probably an idiot because I couldn't get words out of my mouth.
He's amazing.
Because but he was so cool.
So let me tell you,
but give me a little bit of Lenny.
Lenny is so cool. He is all the things you think he is, but this is our connection.
Okay.
Which is actually like a strange, I never thought about it this way, bridge to my life. Right. So as you said, I was kind of a person who was raised in the nightlife of New York City, door girl, blah, blah, blah. One of my close friends was a promoter who was partners with the legendary Damon named Frank Roberts. Okay. And Frank is an incredible human being. And Frank's girlfriend at the time was my best friend, Jada. Okay. And we wanted to, she went to FIT. We wanted to get into styling. And Frank was friends with Lenny. And Lenny was looking for a stylist. So Frank says to us, do you know any stylist that could help Lenny? And we were like, us. So we went to do a music video, and Lenny and I fell in love. And we fell in love because his mother, the great Roxy Roker, was a Black theater icon. Everyone knows her from, the Jeffersons. But Roxy Roker and my mother and his father, Cy, they were all friends. So, and Roxy had such a love for Black theater and a love, she was in plays at New Federal Theater, Woody King's Theater. She and my mother had been friends. And when we started, like, I was doing a fitting, right? Same as you, like gobstopped of who this man is. But we just were like, oh, we're cousins. Like, how don't we know each other? And from that moment, it was like the Black theater connection, the nightlife connection became like this thread that we really saw each other in a way where like, we're going to be in each other's life forever. And so we have been. He's amazing. He's amazing.
He is amazing. He is amazing.
Yeah.
You speak about the Black theater connection.
Yeah.
And we cannot go on without talking about your iconic mother, the late great Dr. Barbara Ann Tier, and her making of the National Black Theater in Harlem. I want to just say I'm so fortunate to have met and known your mother, meaning going to the theater as, you know, when I was younger, kind of going a little bit older. We didn't meet, but she would recognize people. Hello. She would recognize, there's your grandma. She would recognize people, became familiar to her, like family. She had that ability to kind of really could make a connection. And she'd always give me this great, welcoming smile and had this spiritual, she was a goddess, a goddess. I literally, honestly, when I would see her, I know we use that word a lot, but when I think about this type of goddess, I think of a spiritual, creative being. And that's what I saw for the first time in my life, was your mom who presented all of that to us. There she is. I mean, there she is. Talk about her legacy, National Black Theater.
Yeah, so my mom was a force of nature. Thank you for that generous introduction to her. Little Black girl from East St. Louis, Illinois, who grew up in Black communities that, you know, one might say are marginalized, under-resourced. She saw East St. Louis as a mecca for her. It was the place where Tina Turner came from, right? It was the place where her babysitter could make it to a world famous stage in Miles Davis, right? Like, she did not see the limitations of Blackness. She saw the expansion. And so she was a person who was determined to create an environment and a home away from home for Black artists that were reflective of our liberation, not of our oppression. And so she's kind of, you know, she has been revered as a foremother of the Black arts movement. Across the street at one point, Amiri Baraka's theater was in Harlem. There was a theater movement to retell properly, authentically, unapologetically the story of the richness of our Blackness. And she was a woman, and she was a Black woman, and it was the 60s. I mean, you know, she was a writer for the New York Times for many years, and she wrote pieces like "The Black Woman, She Does Exist," breaking down the color barrier and the misogyny barrier of Broadway. We Can Be Who We Were Born to Be is another name of one of her articles in the New York Times, which is repurposing, retelling our story. It was incumbent upon her experience for us to decrud ourselves from the reality that we were slaves. We were not slaves. We were whole human beings who were enslaved. What does that do to a young person? What does that do to an artist when you realize that, as Maya Angelou says, Jimmy Baldwin says, your crown has been paid for, right? And so she, as a mad scientist in the arts, right? She wanted to say, what would it be like if we took God out of the sky and put them in us? Because for an actor, for someone who makes theater, you know, for someone who makes television or film, when you go to audition, that is an auction block. You stand up there, you smile big. They don't want to hear, you know, about who you are as a person. They want to see if you can deliver a product. And she said, you know, there's something in our genetic cellular makeup that triggers this sense of PTSD, this post-traumatic slave syndrome. And so she wanted to gift our community, our artists, with a technology that could rework all of that kind of generational trauma. So she believed in God-conscious art. And so she believed in bringing spirit and ritual, indigenous practice back to the stage so that we could be truly be born to be who we were supposed to be, not who they taught us or told us to be. So the experience of National Black Theater is an experience of remembering what we were taught to forget. And that's who she was. She was also the first person to say that Harlem is the cultural capital of the world. And that is also why entrepreneurship was important to her. She was such a visionary with that. That's why she bought the block of 125th and Fifth Avenue in 1986. And as a Black woman, they told her she couldn't do not one of the things that she accomplished, and she accomplished them all. And so it is a privilege of a lifetime, really and truly, to be able to continue her legacy and steward the work of the National Black Theater. To be 53 years old, you know, we're over half a century, have not closed one day in our tenure, and continue to produce at the most artistically rigorous level, nominated for drama desks every year, won the Obie last year. And when I talk like this, it's not from an ego place. It is from a place for all of like your viewers, the young people who look at the work that you do, Musa, to say, see yourself in this. And that we did not just show up. We are not just Black Lives Matter in this moment. Our lives have always mattered. We have always been history makers. And my story and my mother's story is your story. We are making history, and we'll continue to make history as long as we're audacious, as long as we are fearless and unapologetically Black. And so that is the work of the theater. That is the work of Dr. Tier. And that is what I get to continue to say.
Oh, wow. I mean, amazing. I'm so excited about what you've obviously done since you taken over your mother's, over the institution, over the you know, her legacy, carrying her legacy. You've done a lot of things. You've had one of the things I want to talk about before we get to the cover reveal is because I think it's important. Is one of your programs. You know, I found that to be I love that, the way it's one of the programs that, can you tell me about that? I think it's with the artist.
Yeah.
But anyway, you can tell me.
We have a really robust residency program.
Residency, right.
Yeah, at MBT. It's called The Lab. It stands for Liberating Artistic Bravery. And every season we have a new application. It's a competitive free application, open to everybody, but highly competitive. So we have 3 playwrights in residency every season. We have a director in residency and a producer in residency, because, you know, my mother comes from a long line of teachers. And so we understand that to break through in the industry, you have to have like the credits, you have to have the receipts, right? That's what life is, have the receipts. So it's a training program. And why our program is unlike residency programs that exist in any other theater is we develop a new work from the page to the stage. And what we found when we were designing our residency program, and we were dealing with some incredible playwrights. Our first playwright was in residence, is a Nigerian American playwright named Imfonisa Udofia, who is badass, now writes for television and film. But this play that she created, a part of her cycle series within our residency program, went on to be published, went on to have a world premiere at New York Theater Workshop, was a New York Times critic pick. But the point was that these voices exist, and sometimes white spaces invest in giving them residency, but they always end with something very surface, right? A reading, an award. But no one is investing in our bodies on stage. That's a whole nother level of business, right? Like, it's more than just an accolade or like a feather in the cap, but this is like to produce a play, to produce a musical takes an investment. And that was an investment that we saw was not happening in our sector. Also, when we were interviewing the playwrights that were to come, we would ask brilliant playwrights that had gone to Yale, that had gone through the public theater's residency, all of these things. What's your relationship with your lighting designer, costumes, sound designers? Though these folks that have been revered didn't have these relationships because no one gave them the shot of investment. So all of our residencies culminate with a public presentation, and that doesn't exist anywhere in the country. It's a real opportunity because we know this market that is Harlem, but mostly New York City, proximity to Broadway. That's how you get an agent. That's how you get, that's all eyes are on you. That's how you get your New York Times review. All of the mechanisms that we don't necessarily at the National Black Theater see as the penultimate success, but we understand the impact of that to continue to disrupt the system. And so that's what our residency program is. And it grows every year and we're super proud of it. And we've had incredible success with our playwrights going on to really produce award-winning works all over the country.
Continued success.
Thank you.
Continued success. We look
You
forward
too,
to, and I'll pick that up right after we do this very important thing. So this is the time of the show where we talk about the cover and then we show the cover. So I'm going to bring on Paul, who shot the cover. Paul. Hey, Paul.
Hey, Paul.
How you doing?
Good.
Wow, I was sitting here like just kind of really blown away. So thank you for sharing that. I just didn't know I didn't know the depth and the scope of what you're doing. So it's amazing.
Cool.
So
good to see you again.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much. We have a beautiful cover. So let me kind of, without further ado.
I'm so nervous.
Yeah, I mean, you look beautiful, so don't be nervous. Let me find, where am I? Vamp for me for a second, Musa. Here we go. All right.
Okay.
Here we go. I am ready.
Okay.
So where are we? If there's a drum roll.
I know, drum roll, please.
Yeah.
Yay!
Oh,
How gorgeous.
Oh my God, you guys.
How beautiful. So stinking pretty.
Oh, it's so pretty. It's so
Isn't it
soft.
pretty?
It's so gorgeous. Thank you. I'm not saying I'm gorgeous. I'm saying
no, you are gorgeous.
We'll say it for you.
And beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're ready. Yeah, it really feels like a good intimate moment, and like you look
right.
We had a good time, so I'm glad it showed up on camera.
Yeah. I love this shot because, like you said, intimate and warm. You know what I mean? And just inviting and it's just such a pretty shot. It just said cover.
I have never been on the cover of anything.
It's the first of many.
Well, we're happy to be the first. And yeah, that's Epperson. That's dress. Epperson dress, right?
Epperson dress. Yeah.
Can I just tell you that dress was everything. Y'all were so crazy about this dress, and I saw it on the hanger and I was like, oh, okay, I'll try it on. I want everything from them. I want everything from them.
From Epperson. He's on here.
Hi.
Yeah, Epperson. He's an old and dear friend. We also had him on the cover. So he's an amazing Harlemite.
Yes.
And an award-winning designer who's been in the business for 40 years.
Wow.
And he was behind Erykah Badu's looks. The turban when she first came out. Yes. That's his signature.
I mean, gorgeous. I felt beautiful. I felt sexy, but most importantly, I felt comfortable. And you're right. You put it on. It's a work of art. Really,
it is a work of art. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
Let me show you one more. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Sit tight. We have one more. I'm sure we have more than one more, but here's
one more to share.
Yeah, this is in that series. I think it's still also beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so pretty. I was so comfortable with y'all. It was crazy.
We had a great time.
We really
were
did.
Posted up on that couch. I think we were having a good time. So it was a fun day. So let me find one more.
Those are all your rings, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right, cool.
But I'm wearing one of Paul's bracelets.
Oh, okay. Yeah. On her.
Yeah.
The one that's on the couch. Okay.
Yeah, the bracelet's false.
Yeah, the unclosed one. Anyway, you make it look really good.
Yeah, so pretty.
Share one more.
Wow.
So this story. Oh, we got another one.
This is the cover girl. The cover girl photo.
I'm scared.
Okay.
Ooh.
Lovely.
Wow.
That's love Diego Benetti, the dress.
Gorgeous.
The Love Benetti. Yeah, right.
That
Love
dress,
Benetti on Instagram.
that dress was really, really, really so beautiful. The lightest silk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Thank you guys so much. I was telling Musa, it's very hard for me to look at images of myself. I think for a lot of folks who make, like, who are behind the scenes,
Mhm.
like for me, it's all about, the artist and
Right.
creating platforms for them. And so being in front of the camera is always such a strange experience, but you guys made it so wonderful. It was like,
Thank you.
I don't know how you felt, and maybe I'm being too dramatic, but it felt like a family reunion. Like Musa and I have known each other for the longest time, but we really were like, it was like that moment with Lenny, really, where it was like, how didn't we know each other deeper? We've been in the same rooms, we have the same friends, we ran these same streets, and so it was such a wonderful, especially coming out of everything we've come out of, to have that like family reunion. And Paul, you were like the most creative photographer, where half of the stuff that you were like, let's try this, let's try that, I was like, oh, he's crazy, but the pictures are gorgeous.
I love it.
You made it happen. So thank you so much for bringing the energy. And I could not tell that you don't like seeing something, because you look so comfortable. So I think I'm
well,
glad
I'll be honest, right? Because we're Harlemites. Quarantine has done a number, right? Like I have been sitting on this couch on a Zoom for a year and a half. So I think putting makeup on and getting in a dress with some extra pounds and like, like not feeling your full self. I mean, I damn near didn't know I had legs beyond my Zoom box, So to put on like a gorgeous dress and to do hair and makeup, it was a gift. But it was also like a little bit like a reality of like, oh, this is my toe back into the world. So it's a little like I'm coming to grips with being a cover woman.
Yes.
Oh, we're happy to have you. So,
thank you so much.
Your legacy now, so thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And we'll have that up hopefully.
We'll have it up tonight.
We'll have it up tonight.
Later tonight for sure.
Cool.
Later tonight.
Post it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
tell Carrie thank you so much, Carrie.
Carrie and Dakota and all of our folks.
Carrie, Chris Chambers, everybody.
They are the
I can't wait for them to see it. Oh, well, Carrie's seen it, but Chris Chambers and the rest of the group to see it. And it's aptly titled, appropriately titled Renaissance Woman.
Oh.
Plays on words, but
Love it.
Yeah, so true. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous.
It is gorgeous. Shout out to Chris Chambers.
Epperson just said, great interview, my dress.
He said, great interview, my dress.
And then my dress. Well, yeah.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I wore a couple of them. I don't know what made the cut, but I wore a couple of them because once I put the first one on, I needed to see what else we had from.
Yes, you got that coming.
Okay.
You got that coming with all the. I think you got like 8 shots or whatever. He just said you're beautiful.
Thank you.
Yep.
So as we close the show, I want you to tell us, because we know, well, maybe people don't know, but MBT is going through a major renovation of epic proportions. It is.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Sure. So really quickly, in 1986, my mom bought the block. She said it was the most famous block in the world. People thought she was crazy. She said, Fifth Avenue, go anywhere in the world. They know Breakfast at Tiffany's, opulence, New York City, say 125th Street. Everybody knows it's the Mecca of Harlem. So she wanted to buy the intersection of the two. And she did that in 1986. We had our first capital project in the 90s. And we have the opportunity with great partners from L&M and Ray to redevelop the whole block. And so We are doing ground up construction as we speak on 125th and 5th, and we're building a brand new building, brand new theaters, brand new community spaces.
Wow.
And we're very excited. And we have to raise a lot of money. So if you are inspired by the work we do, you can go to International Black Theater's website and see what we're doing. And if you feel so inspired, make a contribution. But we're staying in Harlem and making Harlem as ever-present blackity black.
Love it. There you go. There you go.
Thank you guys so much.
Well, thank you so much, Sade, for gracing our cover, for being an amazing human being, for doing all that you do and have done for this community. It is with, I can speak with Paul to say it is our complete honor to honor you.
Oh.
And to give you your flowers. That is the hallmark. We're back, guys. We had a little moment, but Ambassador, at this inception of Ambassador Digital Magazine was always about just recognizing our beauty, recognizing who we are and the contributions that people are making, and not waiting for the other mainstream media to say, well, you're worthy, because they only tell you when you're worthy, if it means something to them, but they don't see us the way we see us. So I see you, we see you, we continue to work with you in NBT and all the beautiful things that are gonna come out of that. Can't wait.
Ashe.
And also one last shout out, I gotta give him a shout out, is Jonathan McCrory.
Yes.
I'd be remiss to not give him a shout out. I love Jonathan. He's you're amazing creative director of NBT, and just an amazing human being all around. Talk about spiritual. That's a spiritual man.
He is a spiritual man. Jonathan McCrory, the executive artistic director of National Black Theater. Shout out. He would be on here watching if he was not. We are live in production with the Public Theater's mobile stage. So he's literally on the mobile stage right now directing National Black Theater's stage for community healing and resilience. And it's coming to Harlem. The weekends of August 14th and 15th, we will be on 125th Street Plaza, 125th and Park, with the Public Theater's mobile stage, 2 main stage productions, and a bunch of incredible community engagement exercise run by us to really talk about what our community has been through and offer some tools of healing and art.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. We'll be looking forward to that. And thank you so much for joining our program. Thank you everybody for joining our program tonight. We will see you guys next week. And we look forward to you guys enjoying the Sade Lythcott cover and her story. So there's more to this, guys. So anyway, with that, I send all of you guys love and live your life with passion. Good night.
Such an honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, y'all.
Good night.